Good afternoon, everybody. You're listening to Lake Stevens Vikings Varsity Baseball here from Henry M. Jackson High School in Mill Creek, Washington. Game number 7 of the 2019 Varsity Baseball season and the first conference game for the Lake Stevens Vikings as they play on the road against the Jackson Timberwolves. Now, entering today, there are a number of storylines from both teams. Starting off with Jackson, they are projected by the Wesco 4A Conference and the coaches to win the regular season title in the Wesco 4A Conference at the end of the season, led by their junior pitcher Case Matter, who enters this game with a 2-1 record and an ERA of 0.7. That's an earned run in 10 innings. But he'll have to face off against a Lake Stevens team that has produced 9.5 runs per game entering today, led by Theron Perkins, Hunter Zelasco, Trey Long, and Tanner Lind. And on the mound for the Vikings will be Alex Peterson, making his third start of the year. Lake Stevens, they enter this game with 5 wins and 1 loss. Jackson, 4 wins and 2 losses. You already know this game's going to be really good. Lake Stevens returning a lot of talent. Jackson also returning a lot of talent, including star catcher Ben Steck, who will be playing at Oregon State next year, among many others at the plate. When we come back, it'll be the top of the first inning here from Jackson High School, as Lake Stevens will get a crack at the plate against Case Matter to see if the Vikings can crack him and give him his second loss of the year. And we are now back in the top of the first inning. Lake Stevens playing their first conference game of the season against the Jackson Timberwolves. The starting pitcher is Jackson's ace pitcher, number 32, Case Matter. The junior against the senior left-hander, Tanner Lind. The first pitch, wind up. Outside, ball 1. The first 3 hitters for the Lake Stevens Vikings, Tanner Lind, the shortstop, Hunter Zelasco, and the third baseman, Theron Perkins. The 1-0. Strike 1 looking, count is even. The lineup for the 5-1 Lake Stevens Vikings, as told by manager Josh White. The first 3 hitters, the left fielder Tanner Lind, shortstop Hunter Zelasco, and the third baseman Theron Perkins. The 1-1. That is a strike 2 looking, count is 1-2. In the middle of the order, second baseman Aaron Lampinen, the designated hitter number 5, Trey Long, and making his first appearance since the first game of the year, Tate Brust. A 1-2 outside, count is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And at the bottom 3 hitters, Cameron Austin, the center fielder, Caden Pattison, the right fielder, and Tommy Lindgren, the catcher. The 2-2, foul ball, hit one over the Jackson bleachers. Count stays at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Case Matter entering this game, 2 wins, 1 loss in his 4th game of the year with an ERA of 0.70. He has allowed 1 earned run in 10 innings. Count stays at 2-2. The pitch, line shot, past the glove of a second baseman, Dylan Anders. And the Vikings start off with a leadoff single in the top of the first by Tanner Lind. Now here is Hunter Zelasco. After having a rough season last year, Zelasco has proven himself to be a force on the field at the plate, I may add. 4 for 12 with 3 doubles. Throw to first is not in time. Ball gets away from the first baseman and rolls right near the fence. But Tanner will stay at first. Rolls away from the first baseman, Jared Pavick. The Jackson defensive positions, as told by manager Kirk Nicholson. On the mound is Case Matter, and behind the plate is Ben Steck. First pitch from Case. Strike 1 looking. And the infield at third base is Ryan Contreras. At shortstop is freshman Dominic Hellman. At second base is Dylan Anders, and at first base is Jared Pavick. Throw to first, not in time. And on the outfield, left field is Jack Underhill. At center field is Kyle Saris. And at right field is Bradley Lundquist with Jeremy Vieira hitting for the left fielder. The 0-1 upstairs, ball 1. Ben Steck behind the plate, got an offer and will play next season for Pat Casey and the reigning national champion Oregon State Beavers. As last year they had a number of players from around here help lead them to a national championship. Timeout by the home plate umpire. Tanner at first, pitch upstairs, 2 balls, 1 strike. Case Matter at 2-1 with an ERA of 0.70. In 10 innings, he has allowed 3 hits, make that 4 now, 1 earned run, walked 4 batters, struck out 16, the 2-1. And that will hit Zelasco. Once again, the Vikings have runners on first and second. The first 2 hitters. And Zelasco, that is the 6th time this season that he has been hit in now 7 games this season for the Vikings. That leads the team. Tanner has 4. Aaron Lampinen, who is the cleanup hitter, has 2, and 4 players have been hit 1 time. Here is Theron Perkins, easily the hottest hitter on this team for the Vikings. First pitch, inside, ball 1. Theron with a batting average of .476, 10 of 21 with 5 doubles and 11 RBIs, 7 runs, 3 walks, has struck out 3 times, and has hit 1 batter. The catcher, Ben Steck, walking up to the mound to talk to the junior. Including a 5 RBI performance in the last game against the Meadowdale Mavericks last Thursday. Throw to second, no throw. As Theron now has a team-high 11 RBIs on the year. Second place on that list, Aaron with 6. Trail on with 4, Ethan Jansen with 4. The 1-0. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Count is even. Count is even, a 1-1 case to Theron. And a timeout by Theron as Case is looking towards second base a little bit towards Tanner. Count stays at 1-1. The pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 2. And Case getting the sign from the catcher, Ben Steck. The pitch. Fly ball. That is, looks like it's playable, but it leans foul. As it'll hit the trees behind home plate. Count stays at 1-2. So after Thursday's game against Meadowdale, there was a bunch of other Wesco 4A action that went on, including one other game that went on during that day. Kamiak playing against Shorewood. Shorewood winning that game 11-2. 1-2. Upstairs, ball 2. Count is even again. On Friday, there were 4 games played. Jackson, these Timberwolves, they were playing on the road against Mount Lake Terrace. Jackson winning that game 12-1. They played 2 straight games in 2 days. They played on Friday against Mount Lake Terrace and on Saturday against Edmonds Woodway, and they won both those games. The 2-2 upstairs, ball 3, full count. The first game was Jackson beating Mount Lake Terrace 12-1. Meadowdale playing at Cascade. Cascade getting the 10-run Mercy Rule win 12-2. Monroe playing at Shorecrest, shutting them out 5-0. And Kamiak playing at Linwood. Linwood winning 7-4. Swing and a miss, strike 3 on a payoff pitch by Case Matter for the first out of the top of the first inning. Runners stay on first and second for Aaron Lampinen, the second baseman. Enters this game with a .375 average, 6 of 16 with an RBI and with 6 RBIs and a double. 5 runs, walked 4 times, has been hit 2 times. And the first pitch, upstairs, ball 1. And there was also a couple of games on Saturday as well. On March 23rd, Kentwood, the Conquerors, we saw them play before the Vikings played against Bellevue. They got their first win against Hazen. They played at Glacier Peak High School, and the 1-0 strike 1 looking. Hits the top part of the strike zone. Runner still at first and second with 1 out. And it was Kentwood. They had a huge lead against Glacier Peak. The Grizzlies tried coming back, but the Conquerors would end up winning that game by the score of 10-9. And then Jackson would beat Edmonds Woodway 5-4. The 1-1 upstairs, ball 2. With Edmonds Woodway, their last 2 games being 1-run losses. Timeout by Jackson. As Case Matter already getting some trouble on the mound here in the first 4 hitters. Now he allowed a leadoff single to right center field by Tanner Lynn. Then hit Zelasco on a 2-1 pitch, but was able to strike out Theron Perkins on a full count. But there's still runners on first and second. And Case the 2-1, low, ball 3. And so the Wesco 4A standings ended with Lake Stevens having the most wins of any Wesco 4A team with a 5-1 record, 3-1. Upstairs and inside, ball 4. Bases are loaded with 1 out. And here is the designated hitter, Trey Long. He went 4 for 5 in last Thursday's game against Meadowdale with 2 runs and an RBI. Brought his batting average up to 294. He's 5 for 17. First pitch by Case. Inside, ball 1. And so at the end of the Wesco 4A conference, end of the week for the Wesco 4A conference, Lake Stevens went 5-1. Cascade, they went up to 4. No, not Cascade. Jackson went to 4-2. And a foul ball hits the home plate umpire, Ben Steck, checking on him. And the count is even at 1-1. And Jackson 4-2, Lake Stevens at 5-1. There are 3 teams with 3 losses. Mount Vernon, they went up from 1-3 to 3-3. And Monroe and Cascade entered with identical 3-2 records. Glacier Peak with a 2-2 record after the loss to Kentwood. Count even at 1-1. Foul ball. Count is now 1-2. And Kamiak, according to Max Preps, the 2 teams that are in the bottom of the list of the 4A state rankings is Kamiak and then Mariner. Kamiak is 1-4. Mariner winless, still at 0-5. And the 1-2 by Matter. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And he gets Trey swinging for the second out. Here is Tate Brust, who is 1 for 3 with a 2-run double. His first appearance at the plate since the first game of the season against Snohomish. And Case the windup. And a ball 1 upstairs. And Case getting the sign from Ben Steck. 1-0. Swing and a miss, strike 1. And then the week started on Monday, March 25th with Cascade playing at home against Linwood. Linwood winning that game 8-3. A pretty good Royals team out there that now are up at 5-1. The 1-1. Swing and a miss, strike 2. And on Tuesday, Glacier Peak, they played at Meadowdale with the Mavericks winning their first game of the year 6-5. Case Matter with the bases loaded. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Ben Steck picks up the ball. Throws to first. It'll be in time, as there were a couple of guys in the dugout telling them to touch home plate because Tanner was running towards there, but that will not matter. At the end of the top of the first, it is no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 3 runners left on. It is no score, as Alex Peterson will be on the mound as he'll face off against the top 3 hitters of the order. The starting pitcher, Case Matter, the second baseman, Dylan Anders, and the catcher, Ben Steck. It is Lake Stevens 0, Jackson coming up as we go into the bottom of the first inning. And we are now back in the bottom of the first inning. Still no score between the Vikings and the Jackson Timberwolves. The starting pitcher making his 3rd start of the year is number 22, the junior Alex Peterson, against his pitching counterpart, junior Case Matter. The first pitch. And a strike 1 looking to the junior right-hander. The first 3 hitters for the Jackson Timberwolves in the lineup, as told by manager Kirk Nicholson. The first 3 hitters, Case Matter, the pitcher, and Dylan Anders, the second baseman, the 0-1. Swing and a miss, strike 2. And Ben Steck, the future Oregon State Beaver, at the number 3 spot as the catcher. In the middle of the order is the right fielder, number 39, Bradley Lundquist. And the third baseman, number 2, Ryan Contreras, at number 5 in the 0-2. 1 hopper to the catcher, Tommy Lindgren. Count is now 1 ball and 2 strikes. And at the 6th spot is the designated hitter, number 42, Jeremy Vieira. He'll be hitting for the left fielder, number 41, Jack Underhill. At the 7th spot is the freshman shortstop, number 46, Dominic Hellman. At the 7th spot, the At the 8th spot, the first baseman, Jared Pavick. The 1-2. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. That is the first out in the bottom of the first inning as Peterson strikes out Case Matter. Here is Dylan Anders, the second baseman. And at the 9th spot will be the center fielder, number 31, Kyle Saris. And the first pitch. Low and inside, ball one. The reserves for Jackson: Brendan Sandico, Marcus O'Donnell, Jace Marquardt, Evan McCarroll, Chris Grayson, Matthew DeGard, Justin Vickery, Kyle Carr, and Evan Canfield. 1-0. There you go. No, a check swing inside. Counting out 2 balls, no strikes. And the 2-0. Did he go? No, he did not. Upside. And upstairs, ball 3. Alex behind on the count, the windup. And this one gets past the glove of the catcher, Tommy Lindgren. And Jackson gets their first base runner on a 4-pitch walk to Dylan Anders. Here is number 33, Ben Steck, the catcher. And at the plate, this guy is someone you should really be paying attention to. Entering this game, he has a .500 batting average of 8-16 with 7 RBIs, a double, and a triple. Entering this game, first pitch, low, ball 1. And the defensive positions for the Lake Stevens Vikings, as told by manager Josh White. On the mound is the pitcher Alex Peterson. Behind the plate is Tommy Lindgren. On the infield, third base is Theron Perkins. At shortstop is Hunter Zelasco. Second base is Aaron Lampinen. And at first base for the first time since the season opener is Tate Brust. Alex stepping off of the mound. And on the outfield, left field is Tanner Lynn. Center field is Cameron Austin. And at right field is Caden Pattison, with Trey Long pinch hitting for Alex on the mound. Peterson, the 1-0. Ground ball, this one getting into the hole in center field. And Ben Steck now with a 1-out single, as they'll bring up Bradley Lundquist, the right fielder. That'll be a pinch runner for Steck. And that is number 34, Chris Grayson.
Now batting the right fielder, number 39, Bradley Lundquist.
Lundquist entering this game with a .294 batting average, 5 for 17, with 4 runs scored, 3 RBIs. It was walked twice and struck out 3 times entering today's game. Alex looking at Dylan at second. First pitch is a ball 1. And Alex getting the sign from the catcher, Tommy Lindgren. Grayson at first, Anders at second. 1-0. Hard hit ball. This one getting into short right center field. Anders is rounding around third, and he will score, and it'll be an RBI single by Bradley Lundquist. Jackson has an early 1-0 lead. Grayson will go to third and is still 1 out in the bottom of the first inning. Now here is Ryan Contreras, the third baseman, entering this game with a .167 average, 2 for 12 with 2 runs scored, 2 RBIs, and a double. Walked once, struck out twice, got hit once. Entering this game, runners on the corners with 1 out. The pitch upstairs. Peterson entering this game 1-0 with an ERA of 10.24, 4 1/3, allowing 8 hits and 6 earned runs, striking out 3 batters while walking 6. Count is 1-0. Strike 1 looking to Contreras. Count is even at 1-1. This is the conference opener for both teams as well as for the rest of the conference, as well as Lake Stevens playing here at Mill Creek. Glacier Peak traveling to play against Monroe. Mariner against Mount Vernon. And it will be Bradley Lundquist in the middle of a rundown. Peterson didn't know what to do. He's throwing to first, who throws to second baseman Lampinen. Now Grayson is going home, and he slides safely. Bradley Lundquist is at first. There was some miscommunication on both sides, and Chris Grayson will score. Jackson takes a 2-0 lead now. And Lundquist will stay safely at first base. He was standing there looking at the third base coach. He didn't know whether to go back to the bag or not. There were people yelling at him. And then Peterson on the mound stuttered a little bit, didn't know whether to throw the first. The 1-1. One hopper to Tommy. Count is now 2-1. Timeout, Josh White walking up to the mound. As Josh White talking to Tommy Lindgren and Alex Peterson on the mound as now Jackson takes a 2-0 lead. And Alex the 2-1. Fly ball, this one going into right field. Back goes Caden Pattison. Caden running back. That is a foul ball as it lands right near the first base line. Count is even at 2-2. Alex ahead of the count, 2-2. One hopper to Tommy, runner stays. Count is now full. Both teams entering this game with identical 3-game winning streaks. Payoff. And that is a ball 4. As Jackson will have runners on first and second again, still with one out. Here is Jeremy Vieira, the designated hitter, entering this game, going 4 for 10 with a run scored, a .400 batting average. It was walked twice, struck out 3 times, and got hit once entering today's game. The pitch, a one hopper, ball 1. And Alex the 1-0. Upstairs. Ball 2. Count is still 2-0. Upstairs 3-0. Count now once again to a 3-0 count. And Peterson, and a strike 1 looking. Count now at a 3-1 count. Runners at first and second, 3-1, fly ball. This one going in the left field. Tanner going back. Tanner making the catch. as the runners will stay. This will go for the second out in the bottom of the first. Now here is the freshman, the 7-hitter shortstop, number 46, Dominic Hellman. He enters this game with a .273 batting average, 3 for 11, with a run, 3 RBIs, and a double to his name entering today's game, walking 3 times and striking out 5 times. And Alex, upstairs, ball 1. Bradley Lundquist at second, Ryan Contreras at first. Count 1-0. Low outside for a ball 2. And Alex looking at second, the 2-0. Swung on, swing and a miss. Strike 1. The count now at 2 balls and 1 strike. Lake Stevens winning their last 3 games, starting with the game last Monday on March 18th against Edmonds Woodway, coming back to win that one 8-7. The 2-1 upstairs, ball 3. Followed by a game at Bannerwood Park in Bellevue, possible preview of the West King tournament that's going to go on in May. They were playing the Bellevue Wolverines, beat them 7-5, and then beat Meaderdale 3-1. Upstairs, ball 4, and the bases are loaded for the first baseman, Jared Pavick. Josh White walking up to the mound to talk to Tommy again, hoping that at least Alex can get out of the bottom of the first. Currently allowing 2 hits, walking 3 batters, struck out a batter. As the first baseman, Pavick, is up. Enters this game going 1 for 11 with a batting average of .091. With 2 RBIs, walked twice, and struck out 4 times entering today's game. They're going to bring in a new pitcher already for the Vikings in number 1, Dominic Gray. They are taking Alex Peterson out after 2/3 of an inning. And we'll be right back here from Jackson High. It will be the bottom of the first inning. Jackson with the bases loaded and 2 outs. They lead 2-0 as Lake Stevens already with a new pitcher on the mound. And we are now back in the bottom of the first inning. Jackson, they lead 2-0. They have the bases loaded with 2 outs, and the Vikings already bringing in a new pitcher in number 1, Dominic Gray, making his 4th appearance of the year as they'll face off against the first baseman, Jared Pavick. Bradley Lundquist at third, Ryan Contreras at second, Dominic Hellman at first. First pitch is strike 1 looking. Alex Peterson currently 2/3 of an inning, 28 pitches, 2 hits, currently 2 earned runs, but that may change. Walks 3 batters and has struck out 1. Now is the leadoff hitter, Case Matter. Gray stepping off. After this game, no wins, no losses, an ERA of 5.21 and 4 1/3. He's allowed 2 hits and 3 earned runs, walking 5 batters and striking out 7, which is tied for second on the team behind Xander Fogel with 8. And the 0-1, strike 2 looking, count is 0-2. Pavick again with a .091 batting average, 1 for 11. Entering today's game with a couple RBIs under his belt. No balls, 2 strikes, Gray. Line shot straight to the third baseman, Theron Perkins, for the 3rd out. And it will end the bottom of the first. 2 runs on 2 hits, no errors, and 3 runners left on as well. But this time Jackson will get some runners on the board, as that will end Alex's stat line with 2 earned runs as we go into the top of the second inning. Case Matter facing off against the bottom 3 hitters of Cameron Austin, Caden Pattison, and Tommy Lindgren, as Jackson has an early 2-0 lead. And we are now back in the top of the second inning. Jackson takes an early 2-0 lead as Case Matter looks to preserve that against the number 7 hitter, the center fielder Cameron Austin. First pitch, swing and a miss. Strike one. Had a rough first inning, 13 balls for 17 strikes and 30 pitches, but is currently on line for the win after the Timberwolves scored 2 runs. The 0-1 tries bunting for it. It is a foul as he'll hit the backstop behind home plate. And the other games that are playing today, Glacier Peak playing at Monroe, Mariner at Mount Vernon, and a 6 p.m. start the first time this year that Kamiak High School will play under the lights against Cascade. And the 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. As Case Matter struck out the side in the top of the first inning, now has strikeout number 4. Brings him up to 20 on the year already, as they'll bring up the number 8 hitter, right fielder Caden Pattison. And the windup. And a foul ball. This will land in the other batter's box as the count will start at 0-1. Ben Steck picking up the ball, throwing to first. And the count will start at 0-1. And the 1-0 pitch, it goes way outside past the glove of the catcher, Ben Steck. Count is even at 1-1. Caden entering this game going 1 for 10 with 3 runs, a walk, and struck out 1 time. And the 1-1. Foul ball, count at 1-2. And Case the 1-2. Strike 3 called. He gets Caden looking. Now for strikeout number 5. As he'll now go to the number 9 hitter, Tommy Lindgren.
Let's go, 3, Tommy!
Had a pretty good past couple of games. As now has the stat line of 3 for 12 with a .250 average. Has walked 3 times and struck out once. First pitch, ball 1. And the 1-0. Swing and a miss, strike 1. And the 1-1. Inside, ball 2. And the windup 2-1. Swing and a miss, strike 2. And Case immediately with a pitch, fly ball, that's foul. Case Matter immediately nodding on a call from Ben Steck, and not even a half second later immediately is in his windup. Count stays at 2-2. Shakes off a couple signs, wind up. Another foul ball. And the windup, 2-2. Another foul. This one a grounder. It'll hit the fence right next to the on-deck circle for Jackson. Count stays at 2 balls and 2 strikes. The quick windup. In the dirt, ball 3, full count. And the payoff pitch. And in the dirt. As Tommy will get the first base off of a 2-out walk. We now go back to the top of the order in Tanner Lind, who hit a leadoff single in the top of the first inning. Also a pinch hitter for Lake Stevens. Pinch hitting for Tommy will be number 11, Devin McWaters, who is slated to be the starting pitcher in Friday's game at Lake Stevens High School between these same two teams. And Case the first pitch in the dirt. Ball rolls away from Ben Steck, and Devin will get to second base off of a wild pitch. As the Vikings once again have a runner in scoring position. Case taking his time here, getting the sign from Ben. Chopper, this one getting in the glove of the first baseman, Jared Pavick, who tosses it to the pitcher, Case Matter, to end the top of the second. No runs on no hits, no errors, and one runner left on. Is still a 2-0 Jackson lead as Dominic Gray walks up to the mound in the bottom of the second, faces off against the 9-1 and 2 hitters of Kyle Saras, Case Matter, and Dylan Anders, as Jackson looks to increase their lead. 2-0 Jackson, bottom of the second. And we are now back in the bottom of the second inning. Jackson leads 2-0 as Dominic Gray looks to throw his first full inning of the game. In the first full inning for a Lake Stevens pitcher this afternoon, he'll face off against the number 9 hitter, Kyle Saras, the starting center fielder. First pitch, line shot to left field. That will fall right in front of the left fielder, Tanner Lind. And Jackson will start off with a leadoff single. And now we go back to the top of the order. Case Matter, the pitcher, struck out looking for one of 2 outs recorded by Alex Peterson in the bottom of the first. It was on a 1-2 count. And Dominic, first pitch. Upstairs, ball 1. And Jackson had a really good season last year, finishing with 16 wins and 7 losses. They finished second in the Wesco 4A Conference to Cascade with a 10-4 record. Dominic, 1 ball and no strikes to count. Pitch, upstairs, ball 2. They started off as one of the top 2 seeds in the Wesco 4A tournament, the now defunct Wesco 4A tournament. The other seed was Cascade. They played against Mount Vernon, beating them 5-4 in the semifinals here at Jackson High School. The 2-0, strike 1 looking. And then in the Wesco Championship, led by Case Matter, they beat the Cascade Bruins 3-0 as the guy at the plate, he basically almost threw a no-hitter against them, leading to Jackson's first Wesco title since 2011. And the 2-1, a slow grounder. This one going to Lampinen. Toss it to Zelasco to first. A one-hopper to Tate. In time, a 4-6-3 double play. What a play by the Lake Stevens defense. And what a pick by Tate Bruss at first. His first game back since the first game of the season. As that'll make it 2 outs in the bottom of the first. Here is Dylan Anders, who has walked on 4 pitches against Alex Peterson. Entering this game, Alex, 3 pitches, 3 strikes. First pitch, a strike 1 looking. And Dominic windup 0-1. Check swing, a nasty pitch. Wow, okay. Count is now 0-2. Dominic Gray showing some flair on the mound against the number 2 hitter, Dylan Anders. So Jackson, they went into the state tournament. They played against South Kitsap at Everett Memorial Stadium, ironically enough, with Case on the mound. And the 0-2 foul ball hits the backstop. They played at Everett Memorial Stadium. Ironically enough, Case Matter was the starting pitcher of that game. And ironically enough, Jackson won again by a 3-0 score. They played against one of the top teams in the state, the Skyview Storm, in the quarterfinals, unfortunately losing 2-1. Outside for a ball 1. And with that, Jackson also lost a number of players as well, such as Addison Beckman, Jackson Weber, and Carter Booth, who is currently playing at Oregon State. And the 1-2 pitch, inside, count is even. A lot of close pitches in this at-bat by Dominic Gray. But the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. Another pitcher, Tyler Elsmore. He was the number 2 pitcher behind Case Matter last season. The 2-2. Fly ball, that is playable. Going in the foul territory. Tate Brust under it. Right next to the Lake Stevens dugout, and that will be the end of the bottom of the second. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left on. It is still a 2-0 Jackson lead as Lake Stevens looks to try and make this a ball game again as we go into the top of the third. Hunter Zelasco, Theron Perkins, and Aaron Lampinen will face off against Case Matter, who has 5 strikeouts through 2 innings for Jackson. And we are now back into the top of the third inning after a marvelous inning by Dominic Gray in the bottom of the second. The Vikings try to look to add to that at the plate here at the top of the third. Case Matter against Hunter Zelasco, who Matter hit on a 2-1 pitch. Upstairs, ball 1. And Case Matter, although he does have 5 strikeouts, he has 48 pitches through 2 innings, 19 balls, and 29 strikes. 1-0. Ball 2. There's the 2, 3, and 4 hitters, Zelasco, Perkins, and Aaron Lampinen. 2 balls, no strikes. Pitch by Matter. Strike 1 looking. Upper strike zone, 2-1 count. 2-1, a line shot. This one going to the left field. And this will fall right in front of the left fielder, Underhill, for a leadoff single. Another one for the Lake Stevens Vikings. And the second hit for the Vikings here is Theron Perkins, struck out swinging on a full count. This game is also currently being live streamed on STSBN, the Snohomish Times Sports Network. First pitch, ball 1, in which there is a visual live stream of that game right now. That one falling right near the left field line, right next to the left fielder, Jack Underhill. Throw to first, not in time to get Zelasco. Zelasco currently 5 for 6 in stolen bases. One of a few guys that Case really needs to pay attention to. The next pitch, 1-0, swing and a miss, strike 1. And Case getting the sign from Ben Steck, 1-1. Check swing in the dirt, ball 2. Ben immediately taking off his catcher's mask, looking at first, as where Hunter will stay at first base. Count 2 balls and 1 strike. And the 2-1. Fly ball, that is playable. Staying in the infield, going in the short center field. It'll be caught by the center fielder, Kyle Saris, for the first out in the top of the third. Here is Aaron Lampinen, who was walked on 5 pitches. And last year as well, the Everett Herald also honored a number of the Jackson players by putting them on their Wesco 4A first team and second team. At first team, it was Ben Steck, who was a first team catcher and was the only Jackson player, throw to first, not in time, the only Jackson player out of the 4 that were nominated that were not a senior. Addison Beckman was nominated as an infielder, Carter Booth, who's now at Oregon State, as an outfielder, and Diego Altamirano as a designated hitter. First pitch outside, ball 1. And at second team, it was Alex Schultz as a pitcher. It was Case Matter as a sophomore outfielder, and Chris Grayson, who is currently a reserve player today, as an outfielder as well. This one a fly ball. This one going right near the line. This one, will it go? It will be caught by the second baseman, Dylan Anders, right near the right field line. It looked like the right fielder, Bradley Lundquist, the first baseman, Jared Pavick, were running towards it as well. But Anders, running all the way from his second base spot, makes the catch right near the line for the second out of the top of the third. Here is Trey Long. He struck out swinging on 5 pitches. Throw to first, not in time. And both Lake Stevens and Jackson have had some history with each other, starting in 2012. The year after Jackson finished second place in the state tournament, they lost by 1 run to Brian McAfee and the Bothell Cougars. In 2012, the Vikings, they played against Jackson at Lake Stevens High School. The Vikings beat them 7-1. They would later play in the tournament that year. First pitch, strike one looking. And they would later play in the Wesco 4A tournament when it was 2 divisions and double elimination. And Jackson then beat, and then Lake Stevens then beat them again 13-4. Fly ball, this one going into short center field. This will fall right in front of the center fielder Kyle Saris, and Trey Long as a 2-out single, as there are runners on first and second once again for Tate Brust, as he is up to the plate again with runners aboard. He struck out swinging on 5 pitches. Oh my. Jackson would end up getting a state berth that year, but would unfortunately lose in the first round to where Lake Stevens would end up winning the Wesco title and losing the quarterfinals. First pitch, ball 1. In 2013, Lake Stevens played Jackson again. This is when Jackson had a number of players from that 2008 Mill Creek Little League team that went to the Little League World Series in Williamsport. 1-0, low, ball 2 in the dirt. And the two teams, they played against each other again. Lake Stevens winning the game 7-6 in their second consecutive Wesco championship. In 2014, it was their first regular season meeting in 2 years, and the first time here at Jackson High School where the Timberwolves won 4-1. And that was the only time that year that they played. 2 balls and no strikes. Hunter at second, the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 1. And in 2015, that was when the two divisions, the Wesco 4A North and Wesco 4A South, merged, which means the teams played against each other twice. And the Vikings and Timberwolves played in the final 2 games of the season. The 2-1 fly ball, that is going out for a foul. Count is even at 2-2. As it was the final 2 games of the season, as the Vikings, if they were to lose either one of those games, they would be out of playoff contention. They won both those games 8-3, and then here at Jackson 7-5. And then they would play for a 3rd consecutive time in the first round with the Vikings winning 6-5. And the 2-2 pitch, a strike 3 looking. It is the 6th strikeout for Case Matter, and once again, Lake Stevens ends the inning with runners on base. It is no runs on 2 hits, no errors, and 2 runners left on. Jackson still leads by a score of 2-0. Dominic Gray is back on the mound in the bottom of the 3rd. He'll face off against Ben Steck, Bradley Lundquist, and Ryan Contreras here from Henry M. Jackson High School in Mill Creek, Washington. Jackson 2, Lake Stevens nothing as we go into the bottom of the 3rd inning. And we are now back in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Lake Stevens trailing Jackson by a score of 2-0. Dominic Gray back on the mound for the first time around against Ben Steck, who hit a laser into the hole in center field on a 1-0 pitch against Alex Peterson. And the first pitch, and a strike 1 looking. Start off with an 0-1 count. Gray will face off against the 3, 4, and 5 hitters, Ben Steck, Bradley Lundquist, and Ryan Contreras. The 0-1 outside. Count is even at 1-1. And in 2015, after they played the final 2 games against each other, the Vikings had a 3 seed, were the 3 seed, and Jackson was the 6 seed. This was the first season with the former tournament format that we had last season. 1-1 inside 2-1. And it was a win-or-go-home game at Lake Stevens High School. Jackson, they were leading 5-0 against Nick Hoskins, who used to pitch for the Vikings. But the Vikings were able to come back and win the game 6-5. 2-1, the line shot straight into the glove of Theron. Throw to first is in time. What a play by Theron Perkins, snagging that ball in a 1-hopper. That's the first out of the bottom of the 3rd inning. They'll bring up Bradley Lundquist, hit an RBI single in the bottom of the 1st inning that scored Dylan Anders from second base. And moved Chris Grayson, who was a pinch runner for Ben Steck, to 3rd. He would later steal home after a rundown. First pitch, a strike 1 looking. Count starts at 0-1. And it was in that game, Lake Stevens, they would come back from a 5-0 deficit. They would win 6-5, and two things happened in that game. One, Lake Stevens kept their season alive. The 0-1. Ground ball to the shortstop, Zelasco. Routine play, throw to first in time. They'll go for the second out of the bottom of the third. Here is Ryan Contreras, who was walked on a full count and was stranded at second base. Now, Lake Stevens, they kept their season alive. The guy who hit the walk-off hit was a guy by the name of Justin Brown, who played 3 seasons with the Vikings varsity team, was a huge contributor, and in my opinion, one of the top leaders I've ever seen, both on and off the field for the Vikings. And it was that and Nick Hoskins who threw a complete game and threw 130 pitches in that game. That one, a line shot into the hole in right center field. The first pitch for Ryan Contreras, a 2-out single. And Jackson still alive in the bottom of the third. Here is Jeremy Vieira, who lined out to the left fielder, Tanner Lind, on a 3-1 pitch for the final out recorded for Alex Peterson. Jackson would have their season end there, and Lake Stevens ended up not winning, but playing in the Westco Championship. First pitch, this one going straight to the left fielder, Tanner Lind. And Jackson has runners on first and second. 2 straight pitches equal 2 straight base hits for Jackson. Here is Dominic Hellman, the freshman. He was walked on a 3-1 pitch and was stranded at first base, as he was the final batter for Alex Peterson back in the bottom of the first inning. Lake Stevens would end up going all the way to the Westco Championship. They would beat Mount Vernon. And then Hoskins had a chance of playing in the title game. First pitch, check swing. Ball 1. And the freshman, the tallest player on the team, you would assume with that slender body that the strike zone would be as big as well. And the 1-0. Strike 1 looking. Now we're talking. Count is even at 1-1. Jackson would have their season end. Lake Stevens, they would play against undefeated Snohomish when they were in our conference in the Westco Championship game against Jake Mulholland, who was a huge contributor to that same Oregon State team that Carter Booth is on at this very moment. The 1-1. Foul ball. Count is 1-2. And Hoskins, he wanted to pitch in that championship game, but Roger Anderson, who was the manager at the time, did not want him to pitch because he threw 130 pitches. And according to him, that was the most pitches that he's ever allowed a pitcher throw in his entire career, spanning near 30 years. 1-2. Strike 3 call. Dominic Gray gets Dominic Hellman looking. And that will end the bottom of the third. No runs, 2 hits, no errors. 2 runners left on. Still a 2-0. Jackson lead over Lake Stevens. Case Matter, he's walking on the mound the top of the fourth. He threw 65 pitches through 3 innings. And Lake Stevens with the belief that if they can take this guy out, that they might have a chance here at winning this game. Top of the fourth. Case Matter facing off against the bottom 3 hitters of the order once again. Cameron Austin, Caden Pattison, and Tommy Lindgren. 2-0 Jackson. And we are now back into the top of the 4th inning. Jackson leading Lake Stevens 2-0. Jackson already getting activity in the bullpen as Case Matter has thrown 65 pitches through 3 innings. They'll face off against the number 7 hitter once again, Cameron Austin, to lead off the inning. First pitch, a foul ball. He struck out Austin on 3 pitches and one of 2 strikeouts that he had in the top of the second. And the 0-1 Case, outside ball 1. Count is even at 1-1. Low in the dirt, away from the glove of the catcher, Ben Stick. Now count at 2-1. Matter, he'll face off against the bottom 3 hitters of the order, Cameron Austin, Caden Pattison, and Tommy Lindgren.
Go, 2-1.
And the 2-1 swing and a miss, strike 2. Count is even.
I'm back.
Now with activity in the bullpen. And the 2-2 Strike 3 called. Case Matter getting Cameron looking for strikeout number 7 on the afternoon. And here is Caden Pattison, struck out looking on 4 pitches. And the person in the bullpen for Jackson, number 48, the sophomore Evan Canfield. First pitch. Ground ball. This one going to the second baseman, Dylan Anders. Throws to first, is in time. And they'll get him for the second out of the top of the 4th. Here is Tommy Lindgren, who has walked on a full count. And was replaced by Devin McWaters, who got to second on a wild pitch.
We were off. He's at like 75 now.
And the first pitch by Case. Swing and a miss, strike 1. And the 0-1 upstairs, ball 1. And so in 2016, 2017, and 2018, they have yet to face each other in the postseason since then. The 1-1 outside, ball 2. That Wesco first round matchup, that was the last time these two teams faced off in the postseason. 2016, they faced off against each other twice, with them splitting the series. And a 2-1 low in the dirt for a ball 3. In 2017, Jackson swept the series, and in 2018, they once again split the series again with the Vikings winning at home. 3-1, full count. Now a full count, 3-2. The pitch, check swing, and he gets Tommy looking for strikeout number 8 for Case Matter. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on. It is still a 2-0 game for Jackson against Lake Stevens. Dominic Gray back on the mound in the bottom of the 4th. He'll face off against Jared Pavick, Kyle Saris, and then back to the top of the order for the 3rd time around in Case Matter as Jackson still has a 2-0 lead as we go into the bottom of the 4th inning. And we are now back in the bottom of the 4th inning. Jackson leading Lake Stevens 2-0 as Jared Pavick for the 2nd time against Dominic Gray will come back to the plate. He lined out to the 3rd baseman Theron Perkins to end the bottom of the 1st. First pitch from Gray. Strike 1 looking. Dominic Gray looking really good so far on the mound. He threw 3 pitches, all for strikes in the bottom of the 1st. He threw 11 pitches in the 2nd and 12 in the 3rd for a total of 28. Total of 26, now 27 pitches. And the 0-1 inside for a ball 1. Gray will face off against the 8-9 and 1 hitters Jared Pavick, Kyle Saris, and Case Matter, the pitcher, who has now thrown 81 pitches through 4 innings against Lake Stevens. Inside, ball 2. And the 2-1 outside, ball 3. Dominic Gray behind on the count early against the first baseman, Jared Pavick. The 3-1. Fly ball, full count for a foul. And Dominic, the payoff. Fly ball going into right field. Caden, that is going to fall right in front of Caden Pattison. And Jackson with another single. This time it'll be a leadoff single by Jared Pavick. Timeout by Kirk Nicholson. As this time Chris Grayson will be the pinch runner for Jared Pavick instead of Ben Steck. Grayson with a stolen base and a run scored under his name in today's game. Here is the center fielder, Kyle Saris. And Saris last season in 23 games, had a .250 batting average, 17 of 68 with 14 runs, 4 doubles, and 16 RBIs. It was walked twice, struck out 4 times, and had 3 stolen bases. And Gray, the first pitch, tries bunting for it, goes foul. It's above the backstop. And Jackson, in that 2011 season, trying to replicate what the 2006 Jackson team did, considered to be one of, if not the best high school baseball team in the history of Washington State. The 0-1 outside, even 1-1, as Saris tried to bunt for it. As Jackson won all of their games, they were undefeated at 26-0, beating Auburn Riverside. And the 1-1, a bunt. They'll roll in foul territory, count now 1 ball and 2 strikes. As Kyle Saris tries to bunt not Jared Pavick, Chris Grayson to second. And the windup. Throw to first, not in time. Chris Grayson stumbling for a quick second, but able to get back to the bag in time. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Gray. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Gray getting Kyle Saris swinging. And that'll be the second strikeout of the afternoon for Gray. Now we go to the top of the order in Case Matter, who is 0 for 2 with a strikeout and hit into a 4-6-3 double play. And the Vikings, they look in position to do another one as well. They have a runner at first base in Chris Grayson. And the first pitch from Gray. Fly ball, that is out foul. Into a wooded area that is fenced off from the field, about a good 10 feet past the fence that separates the field of play. Count starts at 0-1. Gray, the 0-1. Hard hit ball going into center field. Cameron Austin under it, making the catch. His throw to first is not in time to get Chris Grayson. As they'll bring up Dylan Anders, 0 for 1 with a walk, a run, and popped out to the first baseman Tate Bruss in foul territory to end the bottom of the second. And also just recently, regarding the rest of the schedule in the Wesco 4A Conference, there was a number of schedule changes as well. First pitch, upstairs, ball 1 to Anders. The original schedule after this series was that the Vikings were going to be playing 2 games next week against Kamiak, 1 game at Lake Stevens High School on Wednesday, and the second game on Friday. Runner goes, Gray, he throw to second. Now he's in a rundown. Zelasco trying to pick up the baseball as Gray to throw to Lampinen, gets off of the glove as it rolls towards left field. And not Jared Pavick, Chris Grayson will get to second base. Count stays at 1 ball and no strikes. Jackson with a runner in scoring position once again. And the 1-0. Upstairs, ball 2. So originally it was going to be Kamiak, then Cascade, then Mount Vernon, then Glacier Peak, then Mariner, and then Monroe. But then there was a schedule change to where instead of playing against Kamiak next week, they'll be playing against Monroe next week. Timeout by Lake Stevens. Josh White walking up to the mound to talk to Gray and Tommy Lindgren. Count at 2 balls and no strikes against Dylan Anders, the second baseman. They're going to be playing against Monroe, and the rest of the season after this week after today, after the week of March 27th, there's going to be 3 games a week until the end of the season, starting with 2 games against Monroe. The 2-0. Upstairs, ball 3. And so Monroe has been moved up to play in the next series against the Lake Stevens Vikings, and as best of my knowledge, every other series has been moved down to where the Mariner series is the final one. The 3-0. Strike 1 looking. So it'll be against the Monroe Bearcats, who didn't have a pretty good season last year, but returned a lot of really, really good guys. One of those guys being Keegan Veely, a senior who's hitting over 500 this season for the Bearcats. And the 3-1. And a foul ball hits the backstop. Count is full at 3-2. And also going back to that 2016, not only did they dominate every single game that they played, but they also had a number of really good players as well. One you may recognize is a guy by the name of Travis Snyder. He has played a number of years in Major League Baseball for Toronto and Pittsburgh, and is currently in the circuit. Payoff pitch outside, ball 4. Another nasty curve by Dominic Gray, and Jackson has runners on first and second. They'll bring up Ben Steck, second time around against Dominic, and the third time at the plate. And they're going to take Gray out of the game. They're going to put in number 25, Ethan Jansen, for the first time this year. A really good performance on the mound. We'll take a quick break here. Bottom of the 4th. Or my mistake. Ethan Jansen's going to play third. Theron Perkins will be on the mound. And we'll still take a quick break. Bottom of the 4th. Jackson leads Lake Stevens by a score of 2-0. There's also a defensive change in Trey Long playing in right field for Caden Pattison. Again, we'll take a quick break. Theron Perkins, the new pitcher, as it is still 2-0. Jackson, as the Timberwolves have runners on first and second with 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th. And we are now back in the bottom of the 4th inning. The Vikings bring in their third pitcher of the afternoon, and number 6, Theron Perkins, taking over for Dominic Gray. And the first batter for him will be number 33, Ben Steck, the catcher. Hit a single in the bottom of the first inning and hit a ground ball straight to Theron at third. First pitch of ball 1 upstairs. Runners on first and second. There's also a couple of defensive changes as well. At right field, playing for Caden Pattison, will be Trey Long. And at third base, playing for Theron, will be number 25, Ethan Jansen. And the 1-0. And a ball 2 inside. Inning started off with a single by Jared Pavick, who was taken over by Chris Grayson. Then a strikeout to Kyle Sears. Then a flyout to the center fielder Cameron Austin. And then Dylan Anders walked on a full count as well. 2-0. Theron the pitch. Ball 3. And Theron entering this game is third appearance of the year. He is the team's only loss under his name with an ERA of 2.8. In 5 innings, he has allowed 6 hits and 2 earned runs. And a 3-0, a strike 1 looking. 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts in 2 games this year. 3 balls and 1 strike. Theron against Ben Steck. 3-1. Fly ball. This is playable. Going into short right center. Calling for it will be Trey. He can't make the catch as he is diving for it. 1 run's going to score. Here comes 2 to throw to the plate. Is it in time? Yes, it is, as Jackson gets a run on the board. And it'll be a 9-3-2 to get Dylan Anders out. But Jackson will get another run. They now lead 3-0 against Lake Stevens. And Case Matter, may I mention, he has thrown 81 pitches through 4 innings. He is back on the mound as he'll face off against the top 3 hitters. in the top of the fifth for Lake Stevens, Tanner Lind, Hunter Zelasco, and Theron Perkins. The inning ends with 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, and 1 runner left on. It is now 3-0 Jackson over Lake Stevens as we go into the top of the fifth. And we are now back in the top of the fifth inning. Jackson increasing their lead now to 3-0. Case Matter back on the mound in the top of the fifth. Will face off against the top of the order for the 3rd time around, starting with the left fielder, Tanner Lind. He is 1 for 2 with a leadoff single in the top of the first, and then grounded out to the first baseman, Jared Pavick. In the top of the third, first pitch, a strike one looking inside. Case Matter, 31 balls and 50 strikes for 81 pitches. The 0-1. Outside, ball 1. Any reserves for Lake Stevens: Dominic Gray, Ethan Jansen, Devin McWater, Xander Fogel, and Bailey Corley. The 1-1 swing and a miss, strike 2 as the ball gets in and out of the glove of the catcher, Ben Steck. And the windup in the 1-2 pitch. Outside, count is even. It'll be Tanner Lind, Hunter Zelasco, and Theron Perkins. And the 2-2. Outside, full count. Case Matter making the game more fast-paced than it already is with the quick windup after the nod of approval, just like this one right here, payoff. Ground ball, this one going into the second baseman. Throws it to first, it'll be in time for the first out on the top of the fifth. They'll bring up Hunter Zelasco. Got on base on both plate appearances, got hit with a 2-1 count in the top of the first, and then on another 2-1 count in the top of the third, got a base hit. 1 of 3 for the Vikings against Case Matter. And the first pitch, tries bunting for it. Strike 1 looking. And the windup, the 0-1. Low in the dirt, count is even. And the 1-1. Line shot, this one going to the second baseman, Anders. Throw to first is in time for the second out. And now here is Theron Perkins, 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a flyout in the first inning and in the third. Evan Canfield still warming up in the bullpen for the Timberwolves. He had a pretty good freshman year last year. Went 3-0 with an ERA of 1.58. First pitch, strike 1 looking. As the sophomore Evan Canfield warming up in the bullpen. The 0-1 in the dirt. Count is even at 1 ball and 1 strike. Evan Canfield, 3-0, 1.58 in 6 games. He threw 13 1/3, allowing 3 earned runs, walking 5, striking out 14. Check swing, strike 2 looking. And the 1-2 pitch, upstairs, ball 2. And the 2-2 from Matter. Chopper, this one going straight to the pitcher. Throws to Pavick at first. It'll be the end of the top of the fifth. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. It is still 3-0 Jackson over Lake Stevens. Theron, welcome back up to the mound in the bottom of the fifth, facing off against Bradley Lundquist, Ryan Contreras, and Jeremy Vieira, as Jackson still leads by the score of 3-0. And we are now back in the bottom of the fifth inning. Jackson leading 3-0, looking to add more off of Theron Perkins as he aims to throw his first full inning on the mound. He'll face off against the right fielder Bradley Lundquist, and an RBI single in the bottom of the first, and grounded out to Hunter Zelasco in the third. First pitch, strike 1 looking. The 0-1, and a short blooper, and a leaping catch by the shortstop Hunter Zelasco in short left field will result in the first out in the bottom of the fifth. Here is Ryan Contreras with a walk in the first inning and a base hit in the third, and was stranded at second. Theron will face off against Lundquist Contreras and Jeremy Vieira, the middle of the order, as he threw 5 pitches in that bottom of the 4th inning. And Theron, first pitch, tries bunting for it. There's a ball upstairs. And Dominic Gray finishing his stat line, 3 innings, 45 pitches, allowing 4 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, and 2 strikeouts, showing some promise on the mound for the future for the Vikings. 1-0. Fly ball, that is foul. Count is even at 1-1. And the 1-1 pitch. Fly ball. This one is playable. Zalasko calling for it from his position at shortstop, making the catch for the second out. And now bring up Jeremy Vieira. Flew out, my mistake, lined out to the left fielder Tanner Lind. And then got a base hit in the bottom of the 3rd off of Dominic Gray on the first pitch he saw and was stranded at first base. And Theron, the first pitch. Check swing, strike 1 looking. And the 0-1. Check swing, did he go? Yes, he did. Count is 0-2. And the 0-2, strike 3 called. Theron gets Jeremy Vieira looking after 3 pitches. That will end the bottom of the 5th. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on. We go into the top of the 6th with Case Matter. He will not be on the mound for this top of the 6th inning. Instead, it will be Evan Canfield, number 48. He has been warming up for a while in the bullpen, as Case Matter will now play in left field for Jack Underhill. As Canfield, the sophomore, will face off against the middle of the order, Aaron Lampinen, Trey Long, and Tate Brust, as the Vikings try to get something going here in the top of the 6th inning. 3-0 Jackson. And we are now back in the top of the 6th inning. Jackson leading Lake Stevens by a score of 3-0. And the Timberwolves bringing in a new pitcher in sophomore, number 48, Evan Canfield, entering this game 1-0 with an ERA of 1.75 in his 5th appearance this year. He'll face off against Aaron Lampinen for the first time. And the windup. First pitch, strike 1 looking. And Canfield in his 5th appearance, 1-0 with an ERA of 1.75. In 8 innings, allowing 6 hits and 2 earned runs. This one a ground ball going to the shortstop, who throws to first, a couple pump fakes, and it is off the bag. The first baseman, Jared Pavic, gets the ball, but he steps off of the bag. And Lake Stevens will get a base runner to start off the 6th. It was wide left from the shortstop, Dominic Hellman. And that will be an error on the freshman, as they'll bring up Trey Long, who has one of the Vikings' 3 hits entering the game. Throw to first, not in time. So Canfield, 8 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, walking 5 batters, striking out 9. And last year had a really good year as a freshman. 3-0 with an ERA of 1.56. Fly ball, first pitch, foul. So Case Matter, his stat line, currently online for the win. 5 innings, 95 pitches, 3 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, and 8 strikeouts, while also hitting a batter. He hit Salasco back in the top of the 1st. Count no balls, 1 strike. Lampinen back to first, not in time. And also a couple other another defensive position as well. Case Matter now playing in left field for Jack Underhill. The 0-1 fly ball, that is playable. This one going right near the foul line. And it will land foul as the second baseman Dylan Anders tried diving for that one. as both Anders and the first baseman Jared Pavick were moving around trying to find the ball.
Let's go, tree.
Count is now no balls and 2 strikes. That one just landed in foul territory. But Trey is still alive
Attaboy, baby. Let's go.
with an 0-2 count. And Evan Canfield, the sophomore, the 0-2. Upstairs, ball 1. And last season, Canfield again, he was 3-0 with an ERA of 1.58. And the 1-2 pitch. Fly ball, that one going into left field. Back goes Case Matter. Matter, he is under it and will make the catch for the first out of the top of the 6th. And here is Tate Brust. He is 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts out against Matter. This is the first time that he has faced off against Canfield this year. Last season, he went 3-0, an ERA of 1.58 in 6 games, throwing 13 1/3. First pitch, strike 1 looking. Through 13 1/3 innings, allowing 13 hits, 3 earned runs, 5 walks, and 14 strikeouts. And the throw to first not in time.
Likes you.
And the 0-1 pitch, strike 2 looking. Jackson coming off winning their last 3 games. They beat Meadowdale 9-1, Mount Lake Terrace 12-1, and Edmonds Woodway 5-4. The 0-2 fly ball, that is going foul. Count stays at no balls and two strikes. That ball landing on the concrete behind the Lake Stevens dugout along the first base line. And the next series for the Vikings and the Timberwolves for Jackson is against the Kamiak Knights instead of the Vikings. The 0-2 line shot left field, that will fall. Lampinen will go to second, and Tate Brust with a 1-out single, and the Vikings have runners on first and second. For the first time since the top of the 3rd inning, here is Cameron Austin, who also is coming up to the plate, striking out twice.
Batting the center fielder, number 21, Cameron Austin.
Austin represents the game-tying run. Ethan Jansen will be pinch hitting for Caden Pattison.
Let's go now, kid. Base now, kid.
First pitch, bunts for it, tries to bunt for it, ball 1. Ben Steck looking to throw to first, does not throw. And so the order for the Jackson Timberwolves after this series, they'll play against Kamiak, Cascade, Glacier Peak, Mariner, Monroe, and then Mount Vernon. The Mount Vernon series to end it off is pretty good as well. Bunts for it. This one going along the first base line. And the count is now even at 1-1 as it rolls towards the manager, Josh White, the first base coach. So they'll start off against Kamiak next week, then Cascade, which is a very tough team to play considering the players that they have returned. 1-1, tries bunting for it in the dirt, ball 2. Then Glacier Peak, who's been off and on in non-conference play, they lost their last 2 games against Kentwood and Meadowdale by 1 run, 10-9 and 6-5, 2 heartbreaking losses. And then against Mariner, who Max Preps says right now is the worst team in the state for 4A. 2 balls and 1 strike. Canfield steps off and looks at second, does not throw. And then after the Mariner series, it'll be Monroe and then Mount Vernon. 2 tough series for Jackson to go through, but the Herald has projected them to finish with the regular season title, the 2-1. Ball 3, Lampinen, throw to third is not in time, as Lampinen has a stolen base. There are now runners on the corners. 3 balls, 1 strike. And the Vikings looking like they're going towards the light here in the top of the 6th. Three balls and 1 strike. Evan Canfield, the sophomore, tries bunting for it. That is a bunt. Foul tip into the glove of the catcher, Ben Stick. The count's now full. Count is now full. Tate at first and Lampin at third. That is a ball. Wait a minute, I thought that was ball 4. Yeah, I thought that was ball 4. That's ball 4. Wait. Yeah. They're saying that's ball 4. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's ball 4. And they're checking that out. And it's ball 4. Yeah, bases loaded. The book saves the day.
4 books.
4 books saved the day right there. A little miscommunication by the umpires. As is now bases loaded. At least, if the Vikings pull this off, at least they know who they're giving the MVP to on this one. Here's Ethan Jansen, who is pinch hitting for Caden Pattison. Swing and a miss, strike 1. And the 0-1. 1 hopper to the catcher, Ben Stick. Count is even. Ethan Jansen entering this game 3 for 11 with a .273 average, with easily the highlight of the year for him being the 2-run home run that he had against Edmonds Woodway that helped the 8-7 win. The 1-1. Upstairs, ball 2. Yeah, now you got that all on recording. The fact that there was a point where I think the book got the pitch count wrong for Case Matter. Now the books helps out with the count. The 2-1. Outside, ball 3. Lake Stevens, they are so close to a run, they can almost smell it. Timeout by Jackson. Ben Steck walking up to the mound. Count is 3-1. Canfield, strike 2. Jansen thinking that was a ball 4. Count is full again. Lake Stevens so close to getting a run. They have the bases loaded for the first time since the top of the first. Payoff, swing and a miss, strike 3. Ben Steck thinking that was the 3rd out. He tosses the ball towards the mound and it's still bases loaded. And now we have Tommy Lindgren. As Canfield now with his 10th strikeout of the year. Wind up, first pitch. Outside, ball 1. And the 1-0 by Canfield. Strike 1 looking. Now it is number 42, Jeremy Vieira warming up in the bullpen. 1-1, fly ball, foul. Canfield with a chance to get out of this inning unscathed. Wind up, the 1-2 pitch. Outside, count is even, 2 balls, 2 strikes. And the 2-2. Short blooper. This one getting past the shortstop. 1 run's gonna score. Tate's riding around third. He is going to score. It's a 2-run single by Tommy Lindgren, and the Vikings are on the board. It's a bloop single. It gets over the glove of the shortstop, Dominic Hellman. Lampinen will score, and Tate Brust will score from second. Cameron Austin going to second base, and the Vikings now trail 3-2. And Devin McWaters once again will pinch run for Tommy Lindgren. Austin is the game-tying run at second. McWaters is the game-leading run at first. And Evan Canfield to Tanner Lind for the first time. Foul ball. Tanner, he is 1 for 3 with a single in the first and a couple of groundouts. Lake Stevens, they were 1 strike away from leaving the inning with the bases loaded. And Tommy busts this game open with a 2-run single, making the game close again. Count is 0-1. Upstairs ball 1. Canfield, runner on first and second. This is a hard hit ball. This will go to the short center. Will they make the catch? Yes, they will. A diving play by the center fielder. Kyle Saris will end the inning. The Vikings will get on the board, though. 2 runs on 2 hits, 1 error, and 2 runners left on. As Jackson will go back to the plate in the bottom of the 6th inning. Theron Perkins back on the mound, facing off against the bottom 3 hitters, Dominic Hellman, Jared Pavick, and Kyle Saris, as Jackson leads by 1 run. And we are now back in the bottom of the 6th inning. Jackson, they were leading 3-0, but after a 2-run single by Tommy Lindgren, they now lead by the score of 3-2. Theron Perkins back on the mound against number 46, Dominic Hellman, who is 0 for 1 with a walk and a strikeout. This is the first time against Theron. First pitch, foul ball. They'll face off against the bottom 3 hitters, Hellman, Jared Pavick, and Kyle Sears. Evan Canfield expected to pitch in the top of the 7th against Hunter Zalasko, Theron Perkins, and Aaron Lampinen, trying to either tie this game up or take the lead for the first time today. The 0-1 swing and a missed, strike 2. And the 0-2, strike 3 call. Theron gets Hellman looking. That'll be strikeout number 2 on the afternoon. For Theron, here is number 30, Jared Pavick. He hit a leadoff single in the bottom of the 4th and was the only run scored in that 4th inning. First pitch, fly ball, that is playable. Stays in the infield. Zalasko calling for it and is making the catch for the 2nd out. Now he goes to the number 9 hitter, Kyle Sears, with a single in the bottom of the 2nd and a strikeout swinging in the bottom of the 4th.
Kyle Sears.
First pitch by Theron. Grounder, this one gets in and out of the glove of Hunter Zalasko. It'll be a 2-out single for Kyle Saris. Zalasko diving to his right and short left field to try and make the play. Gets in and out of the glove, and the Timberwolves now go back to the top of the order for the 4th time around in Case Matter, who is 0 for 3 at the plate today.
The left fielder, number 32, Case Matter.
And the first pitch by Theron, strike 1. No, not strike 1, ball 1. And Theron the 1-0. In the dirt, ball 2. Theron entering this inning, throwing 13 pitches. He has just thrown his 6, so he has thrown 19 pitches in this game for the Vikings. 2 balls and no strikes. Saris, a chopper, goes foul past the left field line. Count is 2 balls, 1 strike. And Theron looking at the number 9 hitter, Kyle at first, the 2-1. And a ball 3. And another close call for the home plate umpire going towards the Timberwolves. Count is now 3 balls and 1 strike. And the 3-1. Hard hit shot going in the left. Back goes Tanner. Tanner going back. Making the catch here in the warning track is Tanner Lind to end the 6th. No runs on 1 hit. No errors and 1 runner left on. There are some guys coming from the infield who cannot believe he made that play. And Lake Stevens, they've been in this position before, going into the top of the 7th, trailing by 1. They did the same thing against Edmonds Woodway. They were trailing 7-6, and they ended up winning 8-7. And they have a chance to do something very similar here. Top of the 7th inning, Evan Canfield against the 2, 3, and 4 hitters of Hunters Alaska, Theron Perkins and Aaron Lampinen for the first time around against Hunter and Theron as we go into the top of the 7th. Jackson leading 3-2. We are now back in the top of the 7th inning. Jackson leads Lake Stevens by the score of 3-2. Evan Canfield back on the mound to shut the Vikings down, starting with the number 2 hitter, Hunters Alaska, who is 1 for 2, getting hit, getting a base hit, and grounding out. First pitch by Evan. Strike 1 looking. And the windup 1-0. And a ball 1. Lake Stevens trailing by 1. They need 1 to tie and 2 to take the lead. They were in a very similar situation on the road against Edmonds Woodway, the 2-0. In the dirt, ball 2, not a 2-0. It's now a 2-1. Looking at the scoreboard, they're resetting their ball strike count, the 2-1. Now a slow fly ball that just gets over the fence. And the count now at 2-2. And in that Edmonds Woodway game, they were trailing 7-6 on back-to-back doubles. 2-2, swing and a miss, strike 3. For the first out in the top of the 7th here is Theron Perkins, who is 0 for 3. A strikeout, ground out, and a fly out. As in that Edmonds game, it was back-to-back doubles by Theron Perkins and Aaron Lampinen. Those 2 guys are currently at the plate and on deck. Foul grounder. This one going to the fence. Count starts at 0-1. And the 0-1 outside even. And the 1-1 by Canfield. Hard hit shot. This one going into center field. Back goes Saris. He's going up. That is at the wall. Theron's going to second. Theron's looking for third. The throw cut off by the second baseman. The throw to third is not in time. Theron Perkins with a 1-out triple. A well-hit ball in the right center field. The center fielder, Kyle Saris, couldn't get the ball. It goes all the way to the fence. And Theron has hit the first triple for the Lake Stevens Vikings this year. Now here is Aaron Lampinen with a chance to knock him in. Aaron was walked in the top of the first. Flew out to the second baseman, Dylan Anders, in the third, and then scored one of the 2 runs in the top of the 6th. And the first pitch by Canfield, fly ball, that is foul. Count starts at 0-1. I remember there were years, I think it was 2 years ago, where no Lake Stevens player had hit a triple. And then there was a few last season, and now Theron has hit a triple for the first time since the first round of the Westco playoffs against Glacier Peak, the 0-1. Inside count is even. So both of those runs in the 6th inning will be unearned towards Canfield because the inning started on an error, and this guy was at the plate for it. 1-1. Fly ball. This one going into center field. Back goes Cirrus. He can't find the ball. Can he get it? Yes, he will. Theron's going to run. Theron's going to score. The game is tied at 3. A sacrifice fly by Aaron Lampinen. Kyle Cirrus, he was having some trouble with the ball for a second, and he had to take a few steps back. He was able to make the catch, but it was not close enough for him to throw home. And Theron will score from third, and Lake Stevens has tied this game 3-3. First pitch to Trey, a strike one looking. And at 0-1 will be a ball one even. 1-1 count. Wind up. Ball 2. And the 2-1, Canfield. And a strike 2 looking, count is even. That one down and outside. And the 2-2. Low, full count in the dirt to Ben Steck. Number 42, Jeremy Vieira, still in the bullpen for Jackson. And the windup and the payoff. Low, ball 4 in the dirt. And the game-leading run for the Lake Stevens Vikings is at first base, and here is Tate Brust. He is 1 for 3 with a single in the 6th inning that landed right near the left fielder, Case Matter. That was right next to the line and was one of the 2 runs that scored off of that 2-run single by Tommy Lindgren. Canfield looking at Trey at first. Wind up in the first pitch. Strike 1 looking. And Canfield the 0-1. And a foul, slow roller towards Jan Novak. The third base coach and Trey had a pretty good jump on that pitch as well. Count is now 0-2. Canfield looking at first. Canfield stepping off. Trey was hinting at running the second. Canfield getting the sign from Ben Steck. No balls, 2 strikes. Runner goes. Canfield, the throw to second. Is it in time? It is. He didn't get him. No, he's out. Now Josh White's talking to the infield umpire as Trey is saying, as he's saying that Trey evaded the tag from the second baseman. Josh White talking to the infield umpire. Trey is still at second. And they are going to say that, yep, he is out at second to end the inning. He tried to evade the tag, and it looked like he did from an angle, but the umpire calls him out, and it'll be the end of the top of the 7th. It'll be 1 run on 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left on. Jackson is now tied with Lake Stevens at 3 apiece. As Theron will be on the mound in the bottom of the 7th against Dylan Anders, Ben Steck, and Bradley Lundquist after Jackson led by 2-0 and 3-0 for most of the game. The game is now tied at 3 apiece as we go into the bottom of the 7th inning. And we are now back in the bottom of the 7th inning. Lake Stevens, they tie the game up at 3 after a triple by Theron Perkins and a sacrifice fly by Aaron Lampinen. After trailing 2-0 and 3-0 for most of the game, they now tie the game up at 3. First pitch from Theron Perkins to Dylan Anders, the second baseman. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Dylan is 0 for 1 with a couple of walks and a run scored. He almost had another one, but was thrown out at home plate in the bottom of the 4th inning. And the 0-1. Fly ball that is playable. Right near the line in left field. Delasco is calling for it and will make the catch for the first out. Now bring up Ben Steck, 2 for 3 with 2 singles and an RBI. And the one time he got out was in the 3rd inning on a nice play by Theron Perkins at 3rd. Timeout by the Vikings. Josh White walking up to the mound alongside Tommy Lindgren. Theron facing off against the 2, 3, and 4 hitters of Dylan Anders, Ben Steck, and Bradley Lundquist. And Canfield expected to pitch in the next inning, if not Jeremy Vieira, because he has been warming up in the bullpen. And Vieira will face off, either Vieira or Canfield will face off against the 6, 7, and 8 hitters. Tate didn't finish his at-bat. It'll be him, Cameron Austin, and Ethan Jansen in the top of the 8th if the Vikings can get out of this game. And the first pitch by Theron, low, ball 1. And the 1-0 upstairs, ball 2.
Like it, Theron.
Got it.
Your play, kid.
So Theron entering this game, throwing 22 pitches. The 2-0. Strike 1. No, ball 3. Count is now 3-0.
Go after him, Theron. Let's go.
And Theron the 3-0. Ball 4. And Jackson with the game-winning run at first base and Ben Steck for Bradley Lundquist, who was 1 for 3 with an RBI single back in the 1st inning.
Right fielder number 39, Bradley Lundquist.
And Theron the first pitch. And a short floater past the glove of the shortstop, Hunters Alasko, and Jackson has runners on 1st and 2nd. That'll bring up Ryan Contreras, 1 for 2.
Now batting the third baseman, number 2, Ryan Contreras.
The outfield backing up.
Be the guy, 6. Be the guy. Here, ground ball out, kids. Go. Roll up.
And Theron getting the sign from Tommy Lindgren. Wind up, first pitch. Strike 1 looking as the ball gets in and out of the glove of Lindgren. And the 0-1. Strike 2 looking. Nice pitch by Theron. It goes a little inside, but the count will go towards Perkins, 0-2. And Theron getting the sign from Tommy Lindgren. Looking over at Steck at second. It is ball 1 outside. Ben Steck at second on a walk. Bradley Lundquist at first of a first pitch bloop single past Velasco. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Looks at Steck at second. The pitch. Foul ball. It's the fence. Count still is a 1-2. Base hit can win it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Theron, the pitch. Chopper, this one getting to Velasco in the dirt. And the runners will advance as the base is loaded. Velasco sliding for it in the dirt. Now bring up Jeremy Vieira, who is 1 for 3, a line out to left field, a base hit in the third, and struck out looking in the fifth. Timeout by Lake Stevens. Tommy Lindgren on the mound. The infield is in. Ethan at third, Hunter at short, Aaron at second, Tate at first. And now the outfielders are moving in. Theron, first pitch upstairs, ball 1. And the 1-0 line drive that is over Velasco. Jackson wins the game 4-3 off of an RBI game-winning single by Jeremy Vieira. Jackson wins the first conference game by a score of 4-3. Both teams will finish this game with identical 5-2 records. The only difference, Jackson starting off conference play 1-0. Lake Stevens starting off conference play 0-1. Lake Stevens, they'll look to even the regular season series with the Timberwolves on Friday at Lake Stevens High School, which Devin McWaters will be the starting pitcher against the projected starter. If I had to guess just from statistics alone, from the number of games that were started, we Bradley Lundquist or Dominic Hellman. They have also pitched 3 games each. Again, the final score, Jackson 4, Lake Stevens 3 in 8, not in 8 innings, it was in 7 innings. I was anticipating for the game to be in extras, but no. The winning pitcher in this game is Evan Canfield. The losing pitcher is Theron Perkins. He is now down to 0-2. From Henry M. Jackson High School in Mill Creek, Washington, my name is Payne Patchett. You have been listening to Lake Stevens Vikings Varsity Baseball. We'll see you on Friday, March 29th at Lake Stevens High School as these two teams will face off again to even the series.